Hi, it's Nick Appleyard here, CEO and President of TriStar Gold, coming to you from Mines and Money in London.
Nick, good to see you. We thought we'd catch you in the field, as it were, except this time the field has got no grass in it, and it's heavy industrial carpeting. Look, you're at the Mines and Money conference. It's the first day, so meetings. You're there to have meetings. Who are you there to meet? What are you there to tell them?
Like always, it's bring in new investors, but the story now is we've got Auramet in, we've got more than $10 million in the bank, and we're full steam ahead with everything we want to do on the site, and more exploration coming, very, very soon. So it's a good story right now.
Okay, last time we spoke, you and I spoke back in, I think it was October. We put out the PFS, some good numbers in there. Markets have come off unilaterally for everyone at the moment. I say with cash in the bank, in a meaningful way, you sort of don't care because you've got a job to do.
Yeah, you always want to see it higher. It doesn't impact us. We're not desperate to raise money, not desperate to do a transaction right now. So yeah, it doesn't have as much impact. Obviously, we'd all like a better market. But yeah, so we want it to get better for sure. But right now we can keep going ahead, keep our heads down, keep moving ahead. And we got dry powder for quite a long time ahead now.
Right, and the feasibility study is coming up next. What's the timing on that?
We haven't really kicked it off yet, so we're still working through, how much exploration, how much more reserves we want to build on before we kick into that. So that's really the part of the money we've raised now. The exploration we're going to be doing now is going to sort of feed into whether we want to target the same 1.4 million ounces, just upgrade that, or if we want to expand it, make the feasibility study group bigger. Those are sort of internal decisions we're having. But, and anticipate sort of by the end of next year, in parallel with the permits coming through, we'll be pushing that feasibility out.
Right. That's quite an interesting point you raised, because obviously when you do the difference between the PEA and the PFS wasn't significant in terms of the scale. And perhaps do you think that contributed to the market not reacting as much as you'd hoped? In which case, does that drive the decision to say, well, perhaps we do need to increase the numbers?
I don't know if that's what, I think it was really more the time gap to the next milestone that probably impacted us. And you have a change in shareholders, I've noticed. We've had, obviously a year and a half ago, World Gold coming in, big long-term shareholder. Just recently, Auramet, big long-term forward-thinking shareholder, think about production and gold trading. And we're seeing the exploration shareholders we've got who are, drill hole to drill hole, press release to press release. They're the ones who have been sort of getting frustrated and going out because that news flow isn't happening. So I think that's really what we've seen. It's a changeover in cycle of the company to a longer term, bigger shareholders, a more professional shareholder base. Right.
So let's talk about that. Obviously, Royal Gold we talked about last time, but Auramet's the new kid on the block here for you, just under 10% shareholder. Why would they invest in you? What are they looking for? What do they see in you?
Obviously they're a big group. They're originally metals trading group. They also do debt financing for mines. And I think really, obviously they like to think they like the operation, like the asset, like the management. And they probably just want to get their foot in the door for when the big checks start getting written, when we start putting it in production, looking at debt financing, for a portion of the CapEx. I think that's really where they want to do. And then when we're selling our gold too, once it's in production. So I think they just want to be inside the tent at that point.
Yeah, right. That's an expensive business model if that's all they want out of it. But what do they see in you guys?
No, they see an asset that's going to go into production. So, and I think if you follow that, buy low, sell high, we're an unloved sector, and they're looking at quality assets that are unloved and thinking, okay, if we could think a little bit longer term, 18 months instead of 2 weeks, this will give us a return on this investment anyway. Plus, we've got a foot in the door for those bigger checks we want to write later on. So I think it is. They want to make money on this investment, obviously, but they do see it as an asset that'll go into production. And at that point, you've got a completely different scenario as far as the investment profile and the share price and where it'll be at that point.
Right. Well, talking completely different scenarios. When I met you, you introduced me to a very strong exploration team. Have you, or do you feel that you're going to need to go further down this track than you would have originally intended because of the way the markets are reacting? Do you feel that you and your team are going to have to kind of build a mine building team as a result of what the market's doing? Have your options sort of changed or been restricted?
I would say, I don't see they've they haven't been restricted or changed. I mean, obviously, if the market was hot right now and someone wanted to come in and buy this asset, we would be there. We've got the team. We'll take it through to feasibility, fully permitted. That's a walk in the park for us. So we're happy to do that. Beyond that point, we would then have to look at bringing a COO in who could operate and build a mine. Bring in a mine building team if we want to do it ourselves or a partner. But I think now we've got this sort of 18-month runway ahead where we can take it forward, get that permit, do more exploration, grow the resources. And we got no pressure on us to do a deal we don't want to do that isn't good for our shareholders.
Right. Okay. And so looking at the market more broadly, I think there was an expectation this year would see a lot more M&A. There have been some bigger deals done, but that doesn't seem to be sort of trickling down to the smaller projects yet.
Yeah, no, we've seen a little bit in Brazil, obviously, with Tocantinzinho getting bought and with Amarillo getting bought. So we are seeing, it's nice because you're seeing interest in Brazil, and I think that's, because there are some, Brazil has been getting a better place to operate and some of the other places have been getting a bit worse. So we have seen that and it's good. But yeah, I don't think we've seen the level of action that I always thought was going to come at some point that's going to drive prices like, companies like us up quite considerably. Once you start getting groups looking for these multi-million ounce advanced deposits in a good location with permits or close to having permits, that we haven't seen that yet.
It's interesting, actually. So Brazil has sort of been the rising star in South America because some of the other countries seem intent on damaging their mining industries, which was obviously good news for you guys. But at the same time, I kind of imagined a bit more of a roll-up strategy happening across the board rather than just as pure single takeouts, because there's some big opportunities down there.
Yeah, no, and it's interesting. Ever since I've been running TriStar, it's been a conversation that's been had multiple times. Should we get together with Sarabi and Amarillo and a few other groups, and you've got a nice company there if you do that. And people still talk about that. We just haven't really seen anyone coming in and doing it. I think one of the private equities was trying fairly hard for a while, but right now we haven't really seen anyone doing that. So, but it does seem a logical thing to do. It does seem
a logical thing to do. But like I say, for now, it doesn't matter. You're in control of your own destiny for the next 12, 18 months or so. What are you going to be specifically talking to people about during this conference?
During this conference, we're going to be talking to them about, how we're spending money. So what we're doing, the permitting, the exploration. And I think obviously the exploration we're going to start doing now is what's going to be exciting for the market. We've always thought we've got a lot of new exploration targets, and we've been working with the AI team at Goldspot. They've given us some really good targets. We've got guys in the field, doing additional work to just fine tune those better and better. So we'll be talking about that. And when we can get a mobilizer drill rig to site and what we'll be doing in with that program.
And just for your shareholders or maybe people looking in, why schlep all the way to London to tell the story again? Who's over here that you want to impress, that you want to see, or at least put yourself on the radar with?
I think this is probably the first full in-person conference that I've been sort of been open to us, and looks like it was going to go well for the last few years. And obviously, the big change over the last few years is we've done so many virtual conferences, and we've been speaking to people all around the world. So it's not so much focused anymore in one place. So I'd do a virtual conference based in Canada or based in the US. You're still speaking to these people here. So a lot of people I'm seeing here, I've been meeting virtually, and I might be seeing them now for the first time. So that's a lot of it. It's follow-up. We've met people 2 or 3 times by Zoom, and now I actually get to shake their hand, look them in the eye, or they can look me in the eye and see if they like the story. They've heard it a few times now. And, then probably more importantly, grab a gin and tonic with them later on tonight.
What's that actually? No, in all seriousness, you always say, people, they press the flesh or, wear out the shoe leather. What is the difference between that and online or by phone call, or does it really help?
I found that I got really excited when we started the Zoom ones. The first couple of like, wow, this is a great format. It's really good. A couple of years into COVID, I was done with it. We're talking to the same people, going through the same message, and there was never any follow-through or follow-up. It was sort of like it was too easy. It was like it's like if you give your kids $20, they go and spend it because they didn't earn it. It's too easy. I think there's more work, more effort goes into this as people take it more seriously. So I think that's really what it is. I mean, it's back to serious work. It's back to doing our job properly. You know, you're not sort of getting there, someone sitting in a suit jacket and their pajama bottoms with their, you know, cat on the lap and the kids run around it. You know, they're not focusing on the work, I think, a lot of the time. So that's my expectation, my hope anyway. As I said, my first meeting starts in about 45 minutes from now. So, but it is good. The really nice thing is I've got was it 27 meetings over 2 days, plus a couple of presentations. You know, so it's going to be really, really a full agenda.
Hard work. It is hard work. It's exhausting. Well, like Nick, thanks for making the time to speak to us. I wanted to catch up about the Auramet deal. You've got the money to do what you want to be doing. So stay in touch. Best of luck over the next 3 days.
All right. Thank you very much. Catch you later on.